Hey YouTube, want to dive in with a kind of a new-ish concept, not really. So I'm sure for all you ICT heads out there that have listened to a lot of his stuff, you've heard him say that this thing or this market kind of moves like Pacman and what that really means. And he made a very good point one day that essentially it can only move forward and look backwards and equating that to what that actually means inside of the market. So the idea is when you think about the participants in the market and equating it to this game, Pac-Man can only move forward as well. So just like when you are playing the game itself, and you think about what you're doing, what's your objective when you play the game, right? You collect all the dots, eat the big dots on occasion, to eat some ghosts for extra points, collect the rest of the dots, go to the next level, and start over, right? So how does that relate to the way the market works? If you can think about Pac-Man as price itself being Pac-Man, and you or whoever playing the game itself, you can think of ghosts as the retail or just people, regardless. The small dots, you can view them as inefficiencies or anything like that. The larger big dots that you use to convert the ghosts, you can think of those as the stop losses that exist in the market, buy side and sell side. And just like in the game, the market will attack one of the dots, chase all of Pac-Man, and chase all the ghosts. Now, the reason that's so important is when you realize back to like month one core content type of stuff, the market can only seek inefficiencies or liquidity. And that's it. So when you equate that to the dots in the board as well, and applying the idea of a balanced price range and everything like that, it becomes very, very powerful on having a good idea on where the market can go and what it's really using as a reference point in the form of look back, tying into the if to data reading functions and everything like that. As much like when you're playing the game itself, what do you do when the whole board is collected? You pretty much stop playing and you go to the next board and you do it all again and you just do it on repeat. Similar to market maker models kind of cycling buy model, sell model, or just reversing themselves over and over and over. Once the new model completes, it's the same as Pac-Man going to the new board and starting over. Now, the reason that is so important in terms of the market aspect is when you realize that from every singular candle, if you apply like the short-term trading style of month 7, you can look backwards 20, 40, 60 bars as your actual range and use that as reference points. Because you need to remember that Pac-Man, or price, is only going to lock on to inefficient areas or liquidity. So if you're looking at, for example, this price leg, and you want to say this is in an inefficient area, you can use that as a first target looking back from this candle down here. Because you need to remember that the market can only look backwards and cast forward. So it can only move forward. Once the candles are printed and solidified in time, they can never be changed again. And they are now there. So once this 9:45 candle closes, that's it. That's the end of that candle's life cycle. It can never move. So when you think about how the market will generate stop losses and things like that, it has to use old price points or reference points, as that's the only place where people will put their protective stop loss, is on old data. So if you're looking back from this candle here at the bottom, still around 130, you need to realize that all you have available to you in terms of reference is here. So once you pass that candle that you're looking back to locking onto, you now have an area to go for. And if you have no inefficiencies, say this inefficiency gets disrespected as it did here, and there's nothing else really in the dealing range available for you, you can pretty much run for the liquidity, assuming you have a balanced range and everything like that. Now, we'll definitely dive into more nuances about it, but I kind of just want to give this as a little bit of an intro and really just connecting the dots of replacing the personas of the game itself and tying it to the market, and realize that even as elaborate as the market is in itself, it still has some restrictions. Like it can only move forward, for example. There's still programming restrictions that this thing has to follow, and there's certain rules behind it. And when you can equate this game, and like I said, Price and Pac-Man, to the game itself, it become you can draw a lot of the similarities together. And it can become a very, very powerful lens as to figuring out where the market can be heading towards and knowing which side of the market you can stay on or avoid, especially if you're a market maker model trader. So if you can do that near the smart universals for your actual look back function, it becomes very, very strong. And again, it's just giving Pac-Man the persona of price itself or the market. People are ghosts, FVGs, inefficiencies, all these dots. Large dots are the stop losses. If you're able to apply all of that, and you can do it from any candle you want. That's what's the beauty about the idea as a whole. You can look back from any candle you want to start your anchor, and then use old data as reference points, in this case mainly this low. Because you will have oftentimes it goes for a 20 bar range, 40 bar range, and sometimes a 60 bar. So it can do all three of them, or just the 20, or just the 40. And use that as a reference point to then go for where you have an idea of where the market's going to go. Because remember, it can only use old data. So if you're hitting, say, the fair value gap here for turtle soup, or anything like that, and you're already up here, and you're looking back and looking left as to what's available, you're really not looking for buy side up here, because buy side was already taken here as well. And you're on sell side of the curve, assuming, and this is just bearish PD array. So you have a lot of confluence as to reasons to avoid a certain side of the market already. And you can then use that function there from the top of the reversal as a look back to figure out old reference points where the market may be drawn to. Because remember, it's only drawn to liquidity and inefficiencies. Those are the only two things the market can see. So just like when you're playing the game on the board itself, as you're moving around and collecting all the dots, once that area is cleared out, you pretty much aren't spending much of your time there. Even when you play the game, how often are you really traveling through the old areas in the board that you already cleared? You're generally going for the new areas that still have dots remaining. You can do what? Clear the board and start over and go to the next level. So just like in the same way, the market needs to efficiently offer buy side and sell side at every price level. And so when that area becomes balanced, it allows it to trade through it, because the price can't teleport. And it will become a very, very refined idea of where the market should or at least shouldn't go. It can save you out of a lot of sides of the traps. You pair that with like dealing range premium discount ideas, as well as just P to raise overall. You'll have a very, very good idea on which ones to trust and which ones are more likely to have already given out. Like this Bissy here, for example, getting one touch and it's done. And then I do want to say also, I am starting a Telegram channel. It'll be totally free in the bottom. It will be kind of analysis and like intraday thoughts and everything like that. So link will that be in the description. If anyone has any other video ideas, please be sure to let me know. I actually kind of want to make this somewhat of a consistent thing now. So we'll definitely be diving into Pacman more and other concepts in the future, ICT related, and just in general. I want to shed some light on some things that I've noticed throughout my journey doing it, and I really just want to share with the people that are willing to watch it. So anything else, be sure just to like, comment, subscribe. If you have any video ideas, please be sure to leave them. I will definitely get to it.